Hey, what's up, team? This is Coach Last with Mental Grit, and today we're going to be talking about priming routines or pre-performance routines. You might have seen this, athletes engage in this type of tool or in this type of activity before they go into their performances. You can specifically look at possibly swimming in the Olympics when athletes and swimmers specifically are doing a variety of things in order to get them prepared both mentally and physically. Now, the whole idea of a pre-performance routine is really just that, is to get you going into every single event, every single practice, primed and ready for your best performance. And you can always do very little things in order to help you get to where you need to be mentally and physically before those events. And today we're going to be jumping straight into helping you develop and or optimize your current pre-performance routine. If you currently have one, that's fantastic. We're going to be putting a little bit more of a purpose, a little bit more of an understanding of why you do what you do before your events or before your practices and performances. But if you don't have one, that is just fine. That's no problem. We're going to be developing it from start to finish today. And so let's go ahead and jump straight into the workbook and get started. Let's go from there. All right, with the pre-performance routine, we're really going to get started based on an old experience of yours. I want you to think back to your best races, your best performances that you've ever had in your life. This could be, really, centered on triathlon if possible. If not, then look to other performances that you've done in other sports and start looking specifically at the things that you did prior to those performances. What were you doing in order to get you into that place that you need to be? Now we really do need to define that right off the bat here. So let's ask that question here really quick. Where do you need to be both mentally and physically before an event in order to perform your absolute best? I want you to go back to those experiences, and I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with regards to your body energy, or their body arousal is like what I like to call it. And this is the amount of energy, the amount of activation that you have within your body. Now, some people really need to be at a 10 out of a 10, where they're just pinging on all cylinders, everything's raring to go, everything, the body is primed, to say the least, to its max. And where other athletes need to be more of a 1 or a 2 or a 3. More like myself, where I need to be calm, cool, collected. Body needs to be super relaxed, super chill, super calm in order to race my personal best. That's the general theme that I've seen across my performances. So I want you to look at your old performances, the best performances that you've had, and I want you to rate yourself again on that scale of 1 to 10 with regards to body activation, the amount of energy or activation that you have within your body. Now, once you have that number, it can be anywhere between 1 and 10. I want you to just write it down in this list somewhere, on these lines, just so you can keep note of when it is. And then I want you to go ahead and think about where your mind energy, activation needs to be in order to be, or to perform your absolute best. Now, do you need to be where you're not really thinking at all, where kind of things are just, in the present moment, really, where we're at right now? Or does your mind need to be like really racing and really, figuring things out and, going through your plans and going through really executing what you want to do during that race? Everybody needs to be different. And, with regards to body energy and mind energy, I want you to go ahead and rate yourself, again, from 1 to 10 with body energy as well as with mind energy, and throw a number down there to based on your past pre-performances or past performances of what you did or where you were at right before those performances, and write those numbers down. Now, the whole point of a pre-performance routine is to help you get to these two numbers before every single training and every single event that you ever do. And you need to have a process of activities, a process of actions that you do in order to help you get to these two numbers every single time. So that actually brings us to our next setup here with regards to our brainstorm. I want you to start brainstorming what you can do both physically and mentally in order to help you get to these numbers. Are you typically above these numbers when you go into a performance, or are you typically below these numbers? If you are below or above, what are you going to do in order to help you get to where you need to be? Now, I personally, I need to be at about a 3 body and about a 2 mind. I am a very calm, cool, collective individual, or need to be that way before my events. If I'm not that way, I know I need to actually get back down. I need to calm myself down. I need to really drop down that, activation or that arousal state that I'm in. And typically, the way I do that is, by stretching or running through my transitions with visualization. Those are both, that's a physical and a mental strategy that I like to utilize. I also like to utilize music. Being able to put a pair of earphones on and listen to very calming music, very meditative music in order to help me reduce that anxiety, reduce any energy that I have in my body, and allow myself to come into that optimal state that I need to be. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do to reduce the amount of activation in your body and in your mind, from meditation, again, listening to music, stretching, moving through your plans, visualization, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that there because I don't want to technically prime you to think of specific things right now. I want you to start brainstorming by yourself. What are the physical things that you can do to reduce your energy if you need to, or if you technically need to, or what can you do to amp up your energy? Now, you can do the same things, physically and mentally to bring up your activation. If you're tired, if you feel like you're just not there and your body's just too low, then you can always do things like sprint drills or quick jumping jacks, things like that. You can also put on some rock music or something that really pumps you up, amps you up. You can utilize really exciting or energetic memories that you've had in the past, or review your personal reason why you're there in order to kind of get that activation up and rolling, because we know that, and just like we've done in the previous exercises here with mental grit, within the last 7-8 weeks of training, we're really looking at the variety of memories of images and what you can do to really bring yourself into the process, and maybe even utilizing those kinds of tools again, the deliberate breathing and utilizing it to facilitate your energy can be something that you can do as well. But I want you to put down the 10 physical things and 10 mental things that you can do to get you to where you need to be prior to your performances. So depending on how much time that you have prior to performance, prior to your competition, you're going to have a different amount, I guess, of things that you can do. I typically start my pre-performance routine about an hour and a half before start time. I'm starting this in my transition, actually, and I utilize this at about an hour and a half before the gun goes off. I'm going through my stretching routine. I'm going through putting on all of my my wetsuit and going through my transitions and visualization. And I have my personal, I guess, sequence of events that I like to use. What I'd like you to do is take these ideas that you've come up with, these brainstormed ideas, and start integrating them into some kind of semblance of a routine. What I want you to do is pretty much take this my priming routine grid, I guess you could call it, and I want you to write down what the activity is that you're going to do, what the purpose is behind that activity, the time prior to the start of the race, the duration of that activity, and the location of that activity specifically for you. And this is going to take a little bit of detailed work here. I do believe that the more integrated you can get in thinking about and developing your own pre-performance routine, the more power that pre-performance routine is going to have for you. If you don't spend time doing this and going through the details, then it's not going to be very effective for you. So really, I want you to take a minute here over even the next few days or so, and I want you to start thinking about what you can do in order to prime yourself, get your body and mind in the place that it needs to be for you to be your best self, to you perform your best on that day. Now, if you do have questions, if you need help with this, please let me know. But at the start of the grid here, put the activity, the purpose, the time prior, the duration, and the location. And I want you to do that in a sequence of events leading up to the actual start time. Now, you can print off 2 or 3 of these My Priming Routine grids. That way you have a little bit more room or a little bit more space. Over a long period of time, you're going to figure out what works best for you. And you're going to actually be able to simplify and really you consolidate this priming routine or this pre-performance routine into the most effective things that you can do in order to help you perform best. But you have to start somewhere. So I want you to throw down all of your ideas into this grid and start utilizing these ideas in training. Now, here's the most important part. And I'm gonna say this on purpose here. I want you to utilize this in training, most importantly in training right now, because if you do this in training, it's not going to be any different on race day. If you do this in training and get your body and your mind into a place of performance, when you get to race day, it's just going to be the same thing. It's not going to be any different than what you've done in the previous or in the past. So you want to make sure you start utilizing this pre-performance routine. Now, I am going to say you can start this an hour and a half before, you can start this 20 minutes before, you can even start this 5 minutes before your race to help you get into your I guess prime state of mind. I've seen, especially when it comes to triathlon, I know there are long periods of time that you can wait before you get in that water, and making sure that you have something that you can do in order to keep you in that prime state during those wait times is important. So remember that the priming routine isn't necessarily a stagnant or structured thing that you have to follow every single time. It's just something that helps. So it needs to be dynamic. It needs to be able to, move a little bit. And I promise you this, just because you have a priming routine doesn't mean you have to do your priming routine to have a great performance. It just simply helps. It helps you accomplish that body-mind state that you want in order to really perform your best. So come up with your ideas. Come up with the little things that help you get into that state, whether it be music, whether it be some kind of physical stretching or exertion. Maybe it's something with regards to memories and or images, or reviewing race plans, or executing that transition and visualization and imagery, whatever it might be. Start throwing down your different ideas, start creating the semblance of a pre-performance routine. And I will say that one of the most important parts of this is knowing your purpose, knowing why you're doing each activity. Because, as they say in the field, when you know why you're doing what you're doing, you're always going to have more power to do it. Enjoy this next week. Enjoy the process of developing this pre-performance routine. I'm leaving it vague on purpose. I want you to make sure that you put some thought into this, put some detailed thought into this. And if you have questions, please comment below. What are your questions? What can I do for you? If you need to get in touch with me, you can always get in touch through the contact form in the website. With that being said, have a great week. Get great, everybody, and we will see you next week with a finished pre-performance routine developed by you. Have a great week, everyone, and enjoy your training this next week. We'll see you later.